Going live. Okay, and we are live. Welcome back to the channel, guys, here with your latest Manchester United news regarding the takeover and all the transfer news you guys need to know about today. So how's everybody doing today? We can see people in the comments. Who's in here so far? We've got Irfan saying there's no money in the bank. And Lucky Singh is saying McTominay and Maguire, we need to sell them both for around £40 million. Do you agree on that one as well, man? Good to see you as well. So let's kick off. Let's get into the news right on the show. So up first, regarding the takeover. So in terms of the takeover, where do we currently stand? Well, Mike Keegan of the Daily Mail has come out with a very interesting report. Some things he do know, some things he has further clarified on, and some things he has added as well. So up first, we have a council placed earlier this season. Now, this basically is bad news for all United fans and United as a club. So, United's released earlier this season means that we basically have more than £300 million in outstanding transfer fees. So, obviously, as we know, Manchester United, we pay in installments. We do not pay everything up front. So, that means we might, for instance, still be paying money off on Bruno Fernandes, on Jadon Sancho, and players like that. Add-ons do eventually have to be paid, and that is something we are seeing at the moment, up to £300 million worth still unpaid at United. So that's not great for United, for our budget. That's more debt, that's more money we have to pay out, and it is going to be a big summer. So I'm asking you guys in the comments today, we have a poll running at the moment. Simple question, will Erik Ten Hag be screwed in this transfer window? The options are yes, no, but he will not get his first choice targets. Now that's kind of where we are in terms of transfer news, which we will bring you guys in just a moment. But sticking with the takeover, sticking with that just for the moment, let's see what is the latest that we have on that. So, according to Mike Keegan, Manchester United's recruitment department is running business as usual. The summer transfer budget is long set and work is now ongoing. And the budget is not dependent on who takes over at Manchester United. Now, I think that's a good thing. I think if you asked me this a couple of weeks ago, I would say I would have liked the club to have been sold by now, so that our transfer budget comes completely from the new owner, from investment coming in. But what does it mean? This means that United are currently working on our transfer targets for this season on a smaller budget, believed to be around about £120 million, completely dependent already on what United have in the bank at the moment, the money that we can spend. Obviously, with sales, that will go up. Now, sales will be very, very important in this transfer window. As Lucky has says, it will come down to sales this year, because if we can sell McTominay, sell Maguire, Dean Henderson, Anthony Martial, Donny van de Beek, there is hopefully £50 to £60 million worth of transfers alone. And if we can add that to our budget, it stretches it that little bit further. So I think that is good, all things considered. Now, in terms of the actual takeover, where do we currently stand? Mike Keegan says there are hopes that the takeover saga will finally come to an end this week. Now, that's a big update. Obviously, nothing set in stone. We're talking hopes, we're talking prayers. We are desperate to get this takeover done, over the line, get it finished, because it has eaten into our transfer window. It has gone on for weeks upon weeks upon weeks, but we may finally be coming to an end to it. Mike Egan thinks that there is hope that by the end of the week we could see resolution. That could be Sheikh Jassim having an offer accepted for United, getting closer. It could be Ratcliffe getting closer. Something will happen this week, according to Mike Keegan, one of the best sources on the takeover at the moment, and he has been pretty much for the entirety of our takeover process, and I think that is going to be important. If we can get something done this week, it helps us out so much moving forward, because as we said last night on the show, regardless if it's Sheikh Jassim, if it's Jim Radcliffe, it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks to get Premier League approval for that in the first place. So we need this done ASAP. We need this done months ago. We haven't got it done yet. This week will be key. So again, Mike Keegan in this same article says that Sheikh Jassim's offer comes with the promise that the debt will be wiped clean, and that would have an effect on our budget. That's good. That is good. So if Sheikh Jassim comes in, Manchester United can spend more money. And I think this is something we have been looking forward to, something we've been hoping for, because we need the money to be spent. We could have up to £50 million extra in terms of a transfer budget this season. So I think that will be big. That will be important if we can get it. Who's in the comments down there? Big T's. Mike Keegan also said today that Sir Jim Ratcliffe does not plan on putting any more debt on the club when purchasing the club. Yes, I think that was said in the article as well. That's a good point. There will not be any additional debt from Sir Jim Ratcliffe. The money that he would be borrowing, the loans and bonds and stuff that we have talked about from last night, that could be taken out on Ineos. Now, this, of course, will have impact on Ineos shareholders, on those guys' business, so it will be interesting to see how they respond to it. Obviously, United, we would add a huge increase in wealth and value to Ineos' overall portfolio, so I think they're looking at it from that point of view, for sure. But they will be taking out the debt, not Manchester United, so I think that is good. No more debt. I want that debt paid off, though. If it's Radcliffe, if it's Sheikh Sim, I want to see the debt gone, because 50 million this year could be an extra player, and an extra player might be the difference in finishing 5th next year and finishing top 4, or going from 3rd, where we finished last season, to push on to try get closer to Man City at the top of the league. Now, I think Radcliffe's bid will be interesting to see where we go with that. There is, of course, a lot of talk coming out about Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid. Now, it did come out, of course, last night. Look, we were talking about Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid heavily going to be financed by loans and bonds. At the moment, the market isn't particularly good. I say this as someone who works in finance. The interest rates are only going up at the moment. They're at highs for the last 10-15 years. Not good news for Jim Ratcliffe in that regard. Borrowing, it's not ideal at the moment. Higher interest rates mean more repayments for the likes of Ineos. It also means more repayments for United on our debt. Those interest rates will also have gone up. Who else is down in the comments? We can see Stephanie as well. NDA, no definite announcement yet, but hopefully very soon for all our sakes. I completely agree. I want to see this done as soon as possible. Hopefully this week. If Mike Keegan, who has been very reliable throughout the entirety of this takeover process, comes out and hopefully can say to us, as he has said, there is expected to be something this week. It's hoped that the saga will finally start to come to an end by the end of the week. I think this will be a big week. I think we can see this in terms of Wall Street confidence in United as well. As we know, the share price did jump up a lot. Now, of course, there was fake reports put in with that has spiked it, but it is still sitting higher than what it was last week, and I think that is something of interest. So there certainly does seem to be investor confidence that something might be happening in the near future for Manchester United. Who else is down there as well in the comments? Lucky Singh says, Aston Villa, sell to McTominay. Is there any selling to do for John Murda? I hope so. And Big T says, don't forget to head over to the Discord server if you're interested. It's newly set up. We'll cover United news, and we're looking forward to seeing all your wit and insight over there. Thank you very much for that, man. And yes, as you guys can see on the overlay, we have set up a Discord server. So in that server, we're going to put in all the daily transfer news, everything regarding the club as well, channel announcements. There is places to chat, places to hang out and talk to each other as well. So if you guys do want to check that out after the stream, link is in the bio. Who else is down in the comment? Ashida saying, good evening, just popped in. How are you doing today? I'm doing good, man. Thank you very much for that. Just after a lovely barbecue dinner. So, like, honestly, well fed, feeling good, and ready to get this stream done and ready to get started with you guys. So Satwant is in the comments as well, saying Glazers out. Absolutely, get those guys out of the club. So let's talk transfer news. We have a lot of transfer news to get through on the show tonight, and of course the main topic of conversation, the title of the video, the very first thing, Mason Mount bid rejected. That is, it's interesting. We did put in on the Discord, I think it was Big T himself managed to say that the transfer window has opened today. So we have went in day one with a bid for Mason Mount. It has been rejected. £40 million was offered, and Chelsea have instantly rejected that out of hand. So are we surprised? I don't think so. These things are usually a back and forth. We will eventually settle on a price if we want the player badly enough. He also down in the comments, Daz is down there saying, still making pointless bids. I mean, yeah, I don't think any bid's necessarily pointless. I think it's pointless in respect of how the Glazers have been treating the bids, how they have been reacting to the bids. I do agree with that to a certain extent. We are looking at Jim Radcliffe. We're looking at Sheikh Sim putting bids in, not getting answers. Literally, like, at the very least, have the courtesy to tell these guys who are offering you billions of pounds if you're going to accept their bid or not. That's what we're talking here. Like, at least respond them. Don't leave them on red. They're not an ex-girlfriend or an ex-boyfriend who's messaged you on a Saturday night saying, "Are you free?" Don't leave them on red. Give those guys a text back. Tell them if their bid's accepted. Tell them what you want. At least give some sort of clarity to it. That's what we want to see. And the lack of clarity has been very, very poor, in my opinion, from the Glazers. So, talking about Mount, Fabrizio Romano has come in with another update for you guys. So, after Chelsea have knocked down the £40 million opening bid for Mount, United will try again with a second bid. I'm not surprised. I think United want Mount. I think there's definitely enough movement on this, and I think Erik Ten Hag seems to want him as well. He wants to come, so I think there's a very good chance of Mason Mount ending up at Manchester United this summer if the price is right. Of course, that has to be the big one. Who's down there? Lucky is saying, two brothers leaving for immediately. The real money is on the table. Yeah, I mean, the money is on the table. It has been the whole way through this takeover process. Sheikh Sim said no more negotiations after last week in terms of that, but his bid is still on the table, and I think that Wall Street as a whole are reacting to that news. A shade is saying Premier League fixtures will be announced tomorrow for next season. Yes, now there was, I don't know if it's real, there was potentially photos that came out of United's first fixture, and it might be Brighton at home. If it happens, you guys heard it here first, but I mean, it's just a Twitter rumour at this point, isn't it? Who else is down there? Irfan is saying breaking news. Nicolo Barella is going to Newcastle for 50 million. Yes, that is going to be a hell of a signing for Newcastle. I mean, Newcastle going to line up next season with Nicolo Barella in midfield, Bruno Guimaraes and James Maddison. That's a lot better than most teams in the Premier League. That's a brilliant midfield. Make no mistake about it. And Newcastle, they will be a threat. They're in the Champions League for a reason, and they'll be fancying themselves to finish top four again next season. They will want to push on, and I do think Newcastle, they are capable of doing it. They've got the backing, they've got a good manager, a good squad. They do seem to know what they're doing in the transfer window. I'm interested to see what United are going to do. That's why we're asking you guys in the poll tonight. Will Erik Ten Hag be screwed in this transfer window? The options are yes, no, but he will not get his first choices. That's what we're asking you guys down below in the comments. So get your votes in on that if you guys haven't already. Big T down there as well. We need to strike the right balance between getting Mount for a good price and also getting him into the squad as soon as possible for pre-season. Yes, absolutely. I think it will come down to that. We need I think he's a good player. I would absolutely take him at United. I think we just need the right price. I think that is so important in terms of any deal for Mason Mount. He else down in the comments, Lucky Singh saying Newcastle have good ownership. I mean, yeah, those guys, they will invest a lot of money in this transfer window. They have done already. They definitely will try to improve that team. They're going for Champions League qualifications for the second season in a row next year. They will keep on pushing, no doubt about it. Newcastle, definitely a team on the rise. United, we can't be complacent. This is another serious team being run in a serious way. So we have to be on our toes. We have to be ambitious, proactive, go out and invest in this team. So in terms of Mason Mount and in terms of other transfer news, where do we currently stand? So Manchester United have ended their interest in signing Harry Kane this summer, feeling the money it will take to sign him, it's unrealistic. So I do think Harry Kane, it's off the table. I'm not surprised. I'm completely not surprised at that. We've expected it for weeks. I think Daniel Levy has been very, very difficult to deal with for Manchester United, and he has been for a very long time. So I do think Harry Kane, it's off the table. United, we will be going for different strikers. Irfan is saying, breaking news, Victor Osimhen's going to go to Newcastle. Haven't seen that one myself. I have seen that Napoli want around 150 million for Victor Osimhen, which is an absolute fortune as well. And I think if you're going to pay 150 for Osimhen, you might as well go for Mbappe, in my opinion. Double A is down there. Good to see you, man. Thank you very much for joining in with us, and welcome back to the channel, man. Good to see you. So yeah, plenty of transfer news to get through on the show. Guys, keep on getting your thoughts into the comments as always, as well. So another potential signing, another first choice signing. is Kim Min-jae. Kim Min-jae, we've been talking about him for several weeks at this point. Where do we currently stand with Kim Min-jae? He might be going to Bayern Munich. I mean, what else can we say? Who else? Actually, a couple of guys in there. Double S then. Back in the house as always. What have I missed? Where are we at? Well, man, we've just covered briefly the small amount of takeover updates we have today. Top and bottom of the situation, Mike Keegan is saying United have 300 million in unpaid transfer fees. We also might get a boost of 50 million pounds should Sheikh Jassim come in and wipe the debt off as promised. And other than that, he's saying potentially look out for any updates coming this week. There could be news on the takeover. Who else have we got down there? Big T saying we could be saving the Kane money for Mbappe. I mean, potentially. I think Mbappe is going to be an interesting one. It will. I think he leaves PSG this summer. I think this will happen this year. And I think if we're paying 150 for Osimhen or 120 for Harry Kane, I mean, you may as well just pay for Mbappe at that point. I mean, that's just my thinking. Double S says, any news on Evan Ferguson? It's gone silent. Love United to go for him. He's one for the future. Yeah, I mean, Evan Ferguson, fantastic player. I think really, really big future in the game. I am excited to see what he does throughout his career. I think he could be a future United player. I think he does seem to have that quality about him, but I do think another season at Brighton certainly will be good for his overall development. Let's see, that was definitely talented. Yep, Lucky Singh is also saying Manchester United, sell them up. Absolutely, we want the club sold. We want the Glazers gone as soon as possible. That has to be the biggest thing that we're pushing for at the moment. As a fan base, as a club, that's where we need to be. That's what we have to do, is go out and get this club sold, because from there we can start to plan for the future. We can start to dream a little bit as well. And I certainly think with the Glazers gone, we will be feeling a lot better as a fan base. We'll be feeling a lot more positive as a fan base. And I'm sure you guys are pretty fed up with the takeover. I mean, I am myself. I want to get going on this stuff. And we want to keep looking at the transfers. But as always, we're held back by the takeover. It is still going on, unfortunately. Big T is saying it's probably the only chance to get Mbappe at his age. A 5 or 6 year contract would see him through his prime. I mean, yeah, it all depends really. Like, I think a lot of it depends on what he wants to do as a player. Now, Erling Haaland, for instance, we know has come out in the past. He basically says he wants to go to many different leagues and play there. Does Mbappe want to be like a Real Madrid legend, a United legend, or does he want to move every couple of seasons, try different leagues out, and play like that? We will see in the years to come on that one. So, what else have we got in terms of transfers? So Erik Ten Hag, talking about Harry Kane, getting back to where we were. So Ten Hag had made him the primary summer transfer target. Now, this isn't happening anymore. Harry Kane will not be coming to Manchester United, no doubt about it. And that is just not happening. And the transfer fee is just the biggest thing. And in terms of that, it just looks like we're not going to be able to afford it. We will not be able to afford Harry Kane this summer. Is that a bad thing? I mean, we said last night, Harry Kane is a short-term signing, in my opinion, in regards that he would only be here for 2 to 3 seasons at the very top of his game. 30 years old now. We do have to look long-term, in my opinion. I think if we go out, so if we were genuinely in a position where we could challenge for a Premier League title next season, where if a goal scorer with 30 goals would be the only thing that was holding us back from winning the Premier League, I think Harry Kane is your guy. I think we need someone longer term, because we will not be there at least for another season. I think we need to go out and get a Kolo Muani, a Hojlund, a Gonzalo Ramos, somebody like that. Someone who will come in, score goals next season, but has time ahead of them where they can improve and develop as a player and hit their prime in 2 to 3 seasons when this team is really ready to start competing for the big trophies in football. I don't think we're there just yet. I think certainly another season of progression, of improvement is needing. Absolutely. Who else is down there? Double A is saying, wouldn't be surprised if come August the Glazers are still choosing their preferred bidder. I swear the saga is more like United clubs. Remember Schneider and De Jong. Absolutely, we love a saga at this football club. We love dragging things out. It's a symptom of Glazer ownership. It's something they've always done, is drag things along for this club, be it transfers, be it the sales process. They've always done this, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. There's not too much we can really do about it as fans. Hopefully, with new owners coming in, a new board, maybe we can be ruthless and effective and go and get players early doors. That's what we want to see. That's what we need to be seeing from Manchester United. But in terms of other transfer stuff coming in tonight, Victor Osimhen is of interest to Manchester United, but he is likely to be out of reach. Napoli are asking for a fee of 150 million euros. So I think there we're going to start limiting who we can buy this summer. I think we're looking at a smaller and smaller list. We will be getting close to the most realistic signings. Harry Kane is off the table. Gonzalo Ramos still on the table. Hojlund on the table. Kolo Muani on the table. And Victor Osimhen, he's off the table. We will not be spending over £100 million on a striker this summer. That is without doubt. So how do we feel about this? I think it's going to show us who we're going to be going for. So expect a Hojlund, expect a Ramos, expect a Kolo Muani, somebody like that. We are talking ridiculous amounts of money to buy Harry Kane, to buy Victor Osimhen. We need to step out of that. We need to go for more realistic players who we can afford on the smaller budget we have. Because I think even if we brought one striker in, if we spent 100 million on Harry Kane, does that improve us enough to get us where we need to be? I don't think so, because we're still looking at our first two midfielders, Eriksen, Casemiro, being both over the age of 30. We're still looking at a goalkeeper in David De Gea, who isn't compatible with what Erik Ten Hag wants as a possession-based team. We're looking at Rafael Varane, relying on his fitness all next season, which I don't think we can do. So I think we do need to be smart with our budget. We do need to invest in several players this year rather than going for one or two really big signings. I think we need to bring in 4 or 5 smarter signings. That's what I think we need to do. Lucky Singh's agreeing with me as well, saying it's too much for Victor Osimhen, that 150 million. So yeah, I do agree with that, man. I think just far too expensive, far too much for us to afford this transfer window. Lucky Singh is also saying McTominay and Sancho need to be sold. I think McTominay will be sold. I don't think Jadon Sancho will be sold. I think we will keep hold of him for at least another season. It will be interesting to see what he does next year. I mean, next season's going to be a big one for Jadon Sancho. We're talking about a guy now going into his 3rd season as a Manchester United player. First season equals United's worst ever season in the Premier League. We can excuse that. Everybody was poor that season. Last season was not great. He went out and he had a couple of months away from the team. That also derailed the progress of his season. This is going to be a big season for Jadon Sancho. This will be the test. Can he make it as a United player? I think we find out. We will be sitting here this time next year on the channel, no doubt, and we will be having this conversation again. Should we sell Jadon Sancho? Is he going to be good enough? I think we need the answer next season. That's what we absolutely need to see from a football club. That's what we absolutely need to do. In regard to Jadon Sancho, we have to go out and hopefully get this sorted. He has to kick on. He has to start playing better. No excuses. This is it. This is make or break for Jadon Sancho at Manchester United. 3rd season, has to do the job this year. That's my thoughts. I do think McTominay is a player we should be selling. I think we're looking at probably 25 million for him, all things considered. I think in terms of what the budget can do, I think that's a smart move. Jinwa is in the comment as well, saying squeaky bum time. Yes, squeaky bum time for a lot of things, for the transfer window, for the takeover, and for a lot of players' careers at Manchester United. The next couple of weeks will be very, very important to next season, I think. If the takeover goes through, if we bring in our players for next season, and if we sell the players we need to, we can go on and have a good summer transfer window. That's my thoughts. But in terms of other transfer news and in terms of striking options coming in, so Fabrizio Romano has once again confirmed Manchester United are interested in Rasmus Hojlund. Now, he has said, of course, Harry Kane will be off the limits. United will not be signing Harry Kane this season. No doubt about that. He has also said Hojlund is of interest. He is on the list of players we want to sign this season. So, do I think it's going to be a smart deal? I mean, yeah, I think we're talking about a guy who, at his age, is one of the best around. We're talking about a 20-year-old who's done very well for Atalanta in Serie A. He has done very well for the Norwegian national team as well. So, no, sorry, for the Danish national team. Apologies for that. But we are talking about a guy who has done very well, and all things considered, I think 40 million for Rasmus Hojlund is a good deal. We're going to look at a player who will only go up in value, and I think it is a smart signing to make, all things considered. So I completely agree with that. I mean, I think it will be a good move if we bring him in. I will be very happy with the signing, but let me know what you guys think. Would you like to see Rasmus Hojlund at Manchester United, or what striker would you like to see signed next season? Let me know down below and keep voting on the poll. Will Erik Ten Hag be screwed in the summer transfer window? The options are yes, no, or he will not get his first choice players. I think I'm kind of fitting into the third category. I think he will not get first choice players. Our first choice players, of course, Harry Kane was the #1 striking option. That deal's off. Too expensive. Daniel Levy will not compromise. Second was Kim Min-jae, first choice centre back, potentially going to Bayern Munich. So there is 2 off the table already. Mason Mount seems to be the first choice midfielder. We've had a bid rejected today, so we will see what happens with that. Will we go back in with a second bid? Romano seems to think so. We will hold our breath on that one because I think United do want Mount. I think price has to be right. I think that's the most important thing. But United, they have made it clear to Chelsea that if they do not come to a reasonable transfer fee, they will move on. They will walk away from the deal. And I think it's what we need to do. I think we have to be smart in this transfer window. I'm glad we've walked away from the Harry Kane transfer if it's going to be over 100 million. I just don't think it's going to be worth it for Harry Kane in the long run. I just don't think it's a smart signing if we are spending 100 million on a guy to come in who potentially in 2 to 3 seasons we might have to replace anyway. So I think those are 2 good moves. I would be concerned if Kim Min-jae didn't come to United. I think we need that extra centre back. If it's going to be Kim, if it's going to be Axel Diassi, that's what we have to do. We have to go out and get the right players in this upcoming transfer window. But any more thoughts, guys? Get them in down below. And as well, after the stream, don't forget, check out the Discord server. Has gone live just yesterday. First couple of posts are up in it, and we will be bringing you guys plenty of news across the server all summer long. Place for you guys to hang out, chat out as well. Lucky Singh is saying 96% agree. I think that's in relation to Qatar, potentially. Certainly a lot of the fan base do seem to want Qatar. A lot of you guys do as well. I think it will be interesting to see where we go with this takeover, what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. Mike Keegan has said it will be a big week for the takeover. Expect news, expect updates, expect progress in terms of the takeover. I think hopefully by this time next week we might have more of an idea what's going on with the takeover. That's what we have to hope for as fans. That's what we need to see as a club as well. We have to see that sort of progress. We have to see that sort of movement on the takeover, because once that comes, all of a sudden everything becomes a lot easier. Then we're starting to talk about new directors coming in. Then we're looking at investment, where we can improve the team, how much we can invest into the team. That's what we're looking at with the takeover coming up. But hopefully it will be pretty soon. Hopefully we can get some sort of progress on this. I'm really hoping, certainly by the end of the week, that we can have some progress on the takeover. Once that comes, I will feel a lot better. I'm sure you guys will as well. Any more thoughts, guys? Keep getting them into the comments and let me know as well. Rajat is saying Kim is going to Bayern Munich. Yes, that is something we were just about to cover. So it's come in from a lot of sources that United might lose out on Kim Min-jae. That is a potential that is potentially gonna happen. I mean, it could be frustrating. It would be very, very frustrating if we lost out on another first choice target. I'm sure Erik Ten Hag would be very frustrated with that as well. I mean, what else can we do? I mean, we're in a position where it's going to happen. We probably will lose out on first choice targets coming up, and I think it's happening again. We've seen this last season. I mean, we wanted Jurrien Timber, we didn't get him. We wanted Frankie de Jong, and we didn't get him as well. We've pulled out of the Harry Kane deal now. We've gone in for Kim Min-jae. He's potentially going to go to Bayern Munich. I mean, that's just very frustrating, all things considered, to me, man. Honestly. Any more thoughts, guys? Get them in down below. Lucky Singh says Jurrien Timber will be available, and Jinwa says if we make a swap deal for Maguire, then it might happen like the Sanchez deal. Ashid is also saying we'll get him because he's willing to come to Manchester United. I think that's in relation to Mason Mount. Let's hope so. I think we need him. I think we need those players coming in. Apologies for that, guys. As well, I think I might be lying. If it is, let me know. So, Ashid is also saying, we'll get him because he's willing to come to Manchester United. I think that's in relation to Mason Mount. Guys, let me know down below. You guys can't hear me. It's